Let's take you to Germiston now, because the funeral service of Tshidi Madia is currently underway at San Salvador Catholic Church there. The renowned journalist passed away last Wednesday after a short illness. In fact, she had marked her 42nd birthday just days prior. Let's listen in just for a moment as some of her friends and media colleagues continue with their tributes.
Tshidi held my hand during my time at the Mail and Guardian, and it continued until the Sunday Times. Tshidi was always ready to lend a helping hand. Tshidi was one of the few journalists who could dissect EFF, and I think I speak to many political journalists who will say that kunzima to be able to get to the nook and cranny of EFF, but Tshidi could do it like no other. When she left News 24, I was a wreck. What would I do without her? Instead of me congratulating her, Tshidi was the one who was comforting me, affirming me, Lizega, I've got you. Some of my cherished memories of us are at the lawns of Nkululeko House, our secret meetings with politicians, they know who they are, the countless hours calling sources after NEC meetings, the countless hours, God. Our deep debates around socialism, capitalism, the Thabo Mbeki era versus the Zuma years, but most of all, our late chuckles waiting for Donald Trump to address journalists during COVID-19. There are two things that Tshidi did not check off in her bucket list. I suspect that as she lays here, she regrets. It's writing a book, and most of all, it's never having interviewed Ivan Khoza. She loved Ivan Khoza. Beyond her time at the Trump White House, Tshidi's proudest moment when it came to this country was the ICJ case. I remember as we watched Advocate Ngugai Toby making his arguments, and then there was an NEC later on when the president was sitting watching the deliberations. We were so proud of the small country in the bottom of the world, which was not willing to bow down or cower to any evil. I think Tshidi, wherever she is most happiest to know that this is what our country stands for. What is funny about Tshidi is that she interviewed every living president, every prominent leader, living or dead. But she doesn't have a single award. Tshidi has an award for best story in this particular year because she never, ever submitted her work. Tshidi was one of the people she was one person who didn't feel that her work needed to be celebrated, and it amazes me still. But I think all of us would agree that in her short life, her short career, she accomplished what most of us still inspire to. And to me, that is deserving of a lifetime award. One thing I think has not been properly conveyed in the many beautiful tributes about Umganam, Tshidi was an advocate for mental health. She spoke passionately about the importance of women taking care of their mental health, especially in our industry. Mafungashe wam diabulela ntokazi. Diabulela ngokutithwala. I say this on behalf of our colleagues, Mpho, Thuli, Maria, Vanessa, Mam Sophie, Asmoiponi, Kenny, Jeanette, Lerato, Felix, Bonolo, Sesona, Natasha, Kaya, Andisiwe, Geti, Sthe, Zianda, Samkele, Mawande, Tamagwini, Karen, Kanita, Rory, Jeff, Mareka, Spamandla, Ted. Thank you. Genevieve, Amanda, Criselda, Erin, Swizwe, Ivan, Neria, Mbali, Khau, Abongile, Nomsa, Valdi, Pitalui, Pule, Zikhona, Goven, Deshni, Kelden, Yolisa, Makudu, Art, Malungelo, and many more. Lalangokolo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aldrin St-Pierre. I am the public figure of the group. and when I was looking at the tributes that were coming through, after the call that I received that your friend is no more, and the statements that were coming out, I thought to myself that Tshidi would probably be saying right now, yeah, who's the public figure now? When a public figure. I need to be public figure when. Who's the public figure now? Do you have a president releasing a statement on you? Do you have one? Do you have political parties speaking about you? Do you? And the strange thing about that is, as much as she understood how impactful her role was in this country, and now recently what we realize, this world, is that she was also praise averse. Ungazama ukumkomplimenta uTshidi, she will find something to say that will throw you off because she doesn't feel comfortable in praise. So Lizega, for me, it's no surprise at all that Tshidi has never won an award. But what she does know, and what she knew, is that she had the ability to win over people's hearts. Whoever she came in contact with, you know how she made you feel. You know how Tshidi made you feel. And that's the incredible friend that I met a couple of years ago when I was still at Eyewitness News. Yesterday I saw a tweet from Ridi Tlabi, and she was speaking about an interview that she did back in 2012. And I said, geez, I remember that interview. It was actually 2011, 2012, because that's when I had just joined Eyewitness News, and I was listening to that interview, and I said to myself, this girl, there's something about her. I want to get to know her more. And she was speaking also about 100 Cups. And 100 Cups is indeed about how do we as human beings continue to make sure that we see other human beings and be able to pull them up with us wherever we go, because dignity is very important. Tshidi will know the name of the waiter. Tshidi will leave knowing the name of the security guard, because in her life, everybody matters. I was saying to Vex last night, our sage, she used to call him our sage, voice of reason. We used to call her Madam Speaker because of the authoritative nature of Tshidi Madia. And I was saying to Vex last night that I was looking at our WhatsApp group. It's called Bali Fresh Start. So the story behind this is she felt that we had another WhatsApp group, and she felt that we were bullying her. And she left the WhatsApp group. Later on, I think a day or so later on, there was another WhatsApp group that had started. A month later, there's another WhatsApp group. And she invites us into that WhatsApp group. The title of the group is Bali, the Fresh Start, because she's always wanted us to go to Bali. Unfortunately, we never got the opportunity to do so. Then I said to Vex that I was looking at who the admin of the group is. And Tshidi is the admin of the group. The only one. So, which means Uguti. She was on control up until the last day and continues to be in control even in her absence. And that is Tshidi Madia. But also true to that also is that Tshidi is the type of friend, or was the type of friend, was very protective over her friends, and very jealous as well. So the reason that there are only 4 people in the group is because Tshidi like, no. Masa Shem Weshu. Masa Kekana here. Masa will attest to trying to warm up to Tshidi. And Tshidi would just like push back. Because for her, she didn't want anyone close to Clement, Vex, and I. It was her boys and nobody else. And when I look back at the last meeting that we had, or the sitting, what can I call that? The Last Supper. Yeah, maybe that's that. The Last Supper that we had together was when we were discussing me leaving media, and it was difficult. Yes, she had her own reservations that she spoke about. But there was the singing that was taking place that day. Clement doesn't know the lyrics, please don't mind him. He's always that guy, doesn't know South African music. And I think we were playing TKZ that night, and it's like, Haibo, where's the South African music? Please, when you have a moment, grab him and have that chat with Clement about this is what we say when we speak about South African music. And that Last Supper, looking back now, says to us friends who are left behind that we had somebody who was the glue of the friends and the friendship. She's the one who would call and say, when are we meeting, we're getting too busy. And I don't know who'll be able to take up that role now. I love this woman so much. If you go back to, even from back 2011, 2012, when we would go to press briefings, you will see Tshidi and I are always sitting next to each other. When I had my difficult moments as the public figure, she was the one who would call, and I said to people were saying to me that, what do you make of people who are not calling you, and what when you were going through a difficult time? And I said, the people that I expected to show up when I was going through my difficult time, they did so. And she was amongst those people. Friend, thank you so much for the love that you've given me. Thank you so much for the kindness that you've extended not only to me, but to the people around you. Thank you for continuing to have been the glue that has kept our friendship together. Thank you for being the voice of reason sometimes when I felt lost. And Vex was saying that when Clement and I, because he's another public figure, when Clement and I would have our little wars, Nyana, she would call him, like, hey, Mr. Sage, go and intervene and mediate. Because the public figures... because the public figures are at it again. Yeah, and in closing, when I had an interview with Chris Vick, and we were there, Clement was there as well, Abu Bazugile, Tumisang, and Togo. And Chris Vick asked, 5 years from now, when they ask you about Tshidi, what would you say? What have you learned from her? And that is, you bring your whole self into a room. You leave nothing behind, absolutely nothing. Your background, your being, your sexuality, and you could see that Tshidi had a weight thing. She was a big girl. But she carried it with pride, even though she was continuously attacked and vilified. But that did not make her coward. She remained confident and remained convicted, remained steadfast on her convictions and her belief. And that's what I've taken away from my friend, and that's what I carry with me. And with that said, thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope that all who have come in touch with Tshidi Madia will take this away from her, that wherever you show up as yourself, your whole being. And don't be afraid. She has lived her life to the fullest, and she has connected us with so many other people. I want to say thank you once again, friend. Ulala Ngxolo, my girl. What a time, what a time.
Modimo haliteng ayo matata ayo matata ayo modimo haliteng
At 22 minutes after 9 o'clock, these are live visuals we're beaming to you from San Salvador Catholic Church in Germiston. That's where Tshidi Madia's final send-off is now well underway. Mahlase is part of the team that's leading today's proceedings, for lack of a better term. She, of course, a close friend of Tshidi Madia's, and at some stage was her boss at Eyewitness News. We've heard now from some of Tshidi's closest friends who also happen to be journalists, and it's really difficult to sum up the sentiment for you outside of just saying that we've witnessed friends who are thrust into grief at a time which obviously they hadn't anticipated. We've heard of how Tshidi fiercely protected them, how she was jealous of their friendship, how she kept in control right till the very last moment, and ways in which she showed up for her friends at times when they needed it most. It certainly has been the golden thread that's run through the hours, really, of tributes we've listened to since the shocking news of Tshidi Madia's passing last week at the age of just 42. And many people who've spoken have really agreed that she seemed to really be on the up insofar as her career was concerned, certainly insofar as the mentorship work she was doing. This is a light that many people will tell you has dimmed way too soon in South Africa's media fraternity. Journalism certainly poorer without her skill, her finesse, her contacts, definitely her ability to help decode some of the most complex moments we've had, and examples insofar as that is concerned really are innumerable. And so there's, I suppose, a real sense of trepidation about what happens next, given just how many more stories it feels the country has to tell.